Okay, question 2 for the paper 2 reading exam. We're going to do a short video on each question. The exam paper, a link to it I'll put in the video bio. So this question is, how does the writer of the newspaper article try to show that Ben Fogle's expedition to the South Pole was full of danger? So basically it was an article talking about Ben Fogle going on a trip and saying all the things that he went through. So question 2 is worth 10 marks. You should be looking to include 6 to 8 quotes. What are the marks given for? Well, clear points and quotes to support that with explanation. What do you need to avoid waffling? So we don't need 7 or 8 line paragraphs. Pick a quote, explain it, 2 or 3 sentences at the most. You must time manage for 3 to 4 minutes for low mark questions. Any 10 mark question, you're looking at 13 or 15 minutes. So in this question, we're zooming in on keywords and thinking, why has the writer used them? So we're zooming in, why has the writer deliberately picked words? And we want to zoom in on 1 or 2 word quotes. We don't want to have a whole sentence or a whole line as a quote. Pick out 1 or 2 words or 1 or 2 phrases and say, why has the writer used them? So example would be, he awoke to a raging, howling blizzard. The writer could have put, he awoke to a blizzard. But why is the writer choosing to use the word raging? Why is the writer trying to use the word howling? What do these words suggest? Basically, these suggest that the storm, so the question, let's say, for example, this was about, the question was said something like, how does the writer show the effects of the storm? Raging and howling, they might suggest the storm seems angry, alive and punishing, because that's basically what raging means. If you think of something raging, we think it would be aggressive, we think it would be violent. Howling, we think of maybe an animal. So in a short sentence, the use of the adjectives raging and howling makes the storm seem angry, alive and punishing. However, if we're looking for a grade 4, grade 5, if we don't know adjectives, nouns, verbs, adverbs, etc., it's better just to put the word. The use of the words raging, howling. So instead of putting adjectives, I've put words. So if you're not sure, it's much better just to put word, like I've done here, than get it wrong. Okay. Also in this question, if you're looking for 6 or 7 or 8 quotes, you've got to track through the text. That means show the examiner you've read the whole article. So don't just have 6 quotes from the first paragraph or 2 paragraphs. Make sure you have quotes all the way through to show the examiner that you've read all the extract and you're going to talk about the whole extract. And then write your answers in top to bottom. So for example, if you're doing your PEs, start with that one, then that one, and so on. Don't jump from PE at the bottom to a PE at the top. Try to do it in top to bottom order. So this is the structure I would use. So if you're doing revision, I would almost copy this out as a structure. So in the text, the writer, link to question, uses the phrase, do the quote, and this suggests. So in the text, the writer, so in this example, the link to question would be, in the text, the writer makes it sound exciting or difficult by using the phrase. Then in your explanation, all you're doing is saying, why have you picked that quote? And in this case, why does that quote, or why does that word suggest that the trip is tough? So if we look in the article, one phrase that we could have picked out is a drying crevice, so a giant crack in the ice. But the examiner could have just, the writer could have just put a big or a large, but why have they chosen to use the word or the adjective giant? What does giant suggest? Well, giant, what connotations? We probably said the connotations are huge, intimidating, violent, dangerous, enormous. Okay, so if we look at putting that into a paragraph now, in the text the writer makes the trip seem difficult by using the phrase giant crack. Now I'm going to zoom in on giant, like I've just looked at the connotations with giant. We've decided that the connotations are huge, intimidating, and now I'm just going to put it into my PE. So this suggests the crack was huge, intimidating and dangerous to Fogle. So I've answered the question of why giant crack makes it seem difficult. I've zoomed into the adjective giant and explained it. Okay, another one we could talk about, another quote that we could pick out of the article was across 481 miles of ice in 18 days. So what technique has the writer used there? Well, they've used a statistic. So if a statistic is used in the extract, it's always there for a reason. And actually, a bit of a tip to you, if there are statistics in the article, I would always do at least 1 PE on a statistic. So in the text, the writer makes the trip seem hard by using the phrase across 481 miles of ice in 18 days. Okay, so why does that make it seem difficult? Well, this statistic suggests the men are attempting something nearly impossible. Yeah, it's such an amazing feat they're doing. Okay, another one. In the text, the question's at the bottom. This is for a volcano one now. So the question is about the volcano. How does Tom Robbins try to make the account of the Iceland's erupting volcano seem exciting? And I've put in the text, the writer makes the account tense and exciting by using the phrase devastating flash flood. So I'm going to zoom into the word devastating. What does it suggest? Well, it suggests the volcano is so powerful it could demolish everything in its path. So if something is devastating, it overwhelms things, it punishes things, it demolishes things. So we've got that point there by saying it's tense and exciting. We've got my quote of devastating, and I'm going to explain why that quote is tense. Well, it suggests the volcano is powerful and it could demolish everything in its path, so houses, cars, whatever. Okay, another one from the volcano one. They said the volcano is still exploding. So why does that make it sound exciting? Well, the writer makes the account tense and exciting with the phrase still exploding volcano. And why still exploding tense? Well, it suggests that it's still going on. So, but this suggests the volcano is still dangerous and powerful. Okay, in this question we're going to ban some explanations that never ever are going to get marks. Okay, so it makes the reader want to read on. It puts an image in the reader's mind. It makes it interesting for the reader. A lot of students do this and you will not get any marks for it. It's not specific. You're not talking about the quote. These basically could mean about any text. These statements could be about any text, so you've got to make sure you avoid it. So summary on this question: focus on what happens and how the language is used. Explain the effect on the reader from the quote you've picked, and try and use as many examples or quotes as possible. There's 6 quotes if you can, 5 if you can, but anywhere from 5 to 8 quotes would be really good.